Hi everyone, good morning and welcome to join me and my friend Leonardo. This is the second session of the interpretative and affective reading assignment after firstly we made them in a word format. So, in this podcast, we will discuss our opinions on how the author uses diction in the novel The Secret Garden. For my friends, please be with us and happy listening. Hi Leonardo, how do you think that the author used diction in the Secret Garden novel?
Okay, Narsi, thanks. Firstly, I'm very admiring with the author of this novel. It is only the exceptional author who can write a book about children with sufficient skill, charm, simplicity, and significance to make it acceptable to both young and old. Mr. Burnett is one of the few thus gift. Francis Harrison Burnett's best love story is a children's classic. The moral of the Sacred Garden is that a child's love and kindness can heal the emotional scars of their parents. The use of words or choice of word is simple, let and make me understand the message of the Sacred Garden story.
That's great, Leonardo. Could you explain more deeply about some things which make you understand the use of diction from this novel?
Yes, of course. There are several things that make me understand about the use of diction, such as the use of words in illustration, using short phrases to capture a sense of the characters, settings, Yorkshire's accent, and the use of words by the author based on the background of the story. The examples are as follows. First, an orphaned girl finds a neglected garden and a neglected cousin and restores them both. Thus illustrated interactive editions are absolutely gorgeous. The illustrations are fantastic and interactive elements are imaginative and whimsical. Think pop-ups, maps to unfold, letters to read, hidden case, doors to open and discover. And the second, I found the description are characterizations pulling me into a secret world. The author had a way of using short phrases to capture a sense of the characters and settings. Like a robin as a bird acts like a human. The robin digs up the key to a secret garden. Third, Yorkshire is one example of the English dialects. The language style uses a language that is thick with his Yorkshire accent. Example, no wonder it is still, Mary whispered. Fourth, the use of words in this novel is strongly influenced by the social conditions and situation at that time. Based on the result, the cultural issues that occur in this novel are bullying and racism.
That's brilliant, Leonardo. You are great for explaining it.
Thanks a bunch, Narcy. So, what do you think about the diction that the author used in this novel?
Well, I think first we have to know that who is the author of this novel? Francis Hudson Burnett is an author known for his frequent publication of children's stories. He was born on November 24 in 1849 and died on October 29 in 1924. Novel The Sacred Garden is one of the novels that made him famous until now because it presents an interesting story about a child named Mary Lennox, a child who is known to be spoiled and selfish, but in the end slowly grows into a good and caring child to each other after his encounter with Deacon and Colin in the Sacred Garden. However, after I read the plot and content of this story and studied what kind of message this novel contains, I found that it is not these things that make me more interested in the Sacred Garden novel, but rather the style of language which was keen with a local Yorkshire's accent and choices of words or diction used by the author.
See, Narsi, but which diction do you find in this novel?
As I read the novel, the types of diction that I want to highlight in this novel are slang diction and informal diction. First, slang diction. The phrasing of his words, which is thick with a local Yorkshire accent, made me even more interested in learning more about new words, which were abbreviated or modified in such a way by the author so that they had a special attraction for me trying to find out the meaning of the words or what the author's meaning. There are several words that I take as examples of slang diction contained in the Sacred Garden novel, such as aye, sir, Ben agreed. The second, aye, Mary said in the Harput on Yorkshire accent. I've, which means I have, I'd, which means I would, you will, which means you will, da with the apostrophe, which means that, and o with the apostrophe, which means of, and so on. All of these words have their full spellings, but are wrote shortly by the author to give the reader a slang impression, because it is also an aesthetic element in a novel. And the second one is informal diction. Besides that, informal diction is another thing that is widely used in this novel by the author, and I am very interested because it contains literacy elements. Here the author includes a choice of words that are poetics so that this novel seems interesting and good. For example, the wind made a wild, low rushing sound. Lovely things grow on it, and it's full of creatures building homes and raising families. A low fire glowed in the hearth. A four-posted bed hung with brocade held a boy. And the last one, the boy had ivory skin and delicate features. So that's more or less I understand of how the author uses diction in the Sacred Garden novel.
Good explanation, Narsi.
Thanks a lot, Leonardo.
You are welcome.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We hope that you get the point on what we have explained before about the diction that we have discussed together in the novel Sacred Garden. And we really appreciate it if you think this is very useful and help you to understand the story of the Sacred Garden novel entirely. Thank you all, good morning, and have a nice time.